I was yanka saya papa ku okuje to ablakwa abrante so no a kire se vetting time no be trend e pa no dwuma de omugu so mo ye ministerial positions so de no kwasem ne se adwuma no wo mo yanka sanka amanfo bi bo aba so enyina etumi hu ye de ani ehu ade me no ka se okuje to ablakwa na US embassy US ambassador to Ghana wasamon no se Trump tariffs no anu de ndodo e wo se nchechire mu ba enenti nana wa ha nana obeboye mu na jese ehu de eko
so basically Donald Trump, if you've been following, he's been announcing a year tariffs even before he was voted in power. Now ebra omo voting in power it is omo year omo inauguration on January 22nd 2025 no. He actually on the first day the executive orders by or he take countries like Canada, Mexico, and also China with tariffs. And Opa said tariffs no the broader one beba. In fact, April 2nd, no, Trump debuted it as a Liberation Day. So on April 2nd, we and some of us were thinking it's going to be Europe, China, Russia, Mexico, Canada, and countries are they are real trading partners with the US. There's a deficit. Basically, Opa said there's a deficit. Like if US has a trade deficit with China, which means the US they import more goods from China than they export to China. So which means the country US has a trade deficit. So to hash out the trade deficit, you have to look at the reason why these things are happening. One of the factors that is leading to this the fact that it could be high, your friend said, taxes on the other forefront of the other countries. So in this case, China was taxing more on US goods, and also China was making their prices so cheap, say it was making it less competitive. In China, will be on the price control, and also the country and the government, so they inflate money into business, so they can come to Pinaxtv and say, Pinaxtv, you guys have a nice digital business. We are giving you $100 million to expand and compete with CNN. So we may not necessarily be making profit, but because we've been fueled with money, we can be on the same level with Saints. If you are seeing normal subscription PPV pay-per-view as let's say $2, we or like $10, we can sell ours like $1. That is how come the same good and the same product. So you can have a photocopy of it from a year, almost the same from China with low price, the same thing in US high price. So that is one of the things that Chinese and other countries are used to kind of hash out US for their importation into their country, and also they even put more taxes. So we're thinking this whole thing was just going to be those countries, not knowing Ghana near SU account. So Trump announced in a list almost all the world will be and Ghana we were taxing US goods coming into the country at 17% tax rate, whereas US for US are basically no taxes, and because of that Trump actually imposed a 10% tariffs on Ghana. Now, many countries will started responding. They said they will have reciprocal tariffs, which China did yesterday with 34%. But then Ghana, we've also been caught in the crossfire. Ghana too exports a lot of things from agricultural goods to certain products. And there are a lot of people behind it. If US start to reject our goods because the price is too much, because they have to pay more taxes, and I say it is too expensive, they look elsewhere, and at the end of the day, your producers in this country, they lose more. So many countries are calling to make a deal with the US. Okay, what tax here 10%? Let's hash out the 10% from ours so we can have a fair AE, which is really going on. But then what we saw was that Okujoto Ablakwa, who happened to be the foreign minister, is called out the French ambassador to Ghana. And likewise, our party so So even Okujoto Ablakwa went further to post on Twitter, say, I can confirm that I've invited U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Her Excellency Virginia Palmer, to my office on Monday morning to provide clarifications and reasons for Trump's imposition of 10% tariff on Ghana. So, Okujoto Ablakwa, as the finance minister, wants to get a head on. So why is this tariffs coming in? And at the end of the day, how can we, or what can we as a country do to take these tariffs off? Because regardless, it is really, really, really going to hurt us. Knowing, say, Ghana too has a trade deficit with US because we export more goods to US than we export more goods to US than we import, because US are no money boy rather in China no, we import more than we export there. So that is what is causing all of this basic issues.
And what good is it going to do for us? Like if I saw Benny Benya was so
the meeting,
what's positive?
The meeting is based on clarifications, but when I was following it, I realized Virginia Palmer, that's the US ambassador to Ghana, Opache say Ghana should also live up to paying its fair share of the quota. The fair share of the quota, I say US companies or my Ghana into we need to pay up. So this White House and this administration is singing a different tune. I remember I said Virginia Palmer, no, she really has no say. The US 4 by no any rules no, she just conveys to Ghana. That is all. And yeah, DBA Donald Trump any person below 18 years visa. Virginia Palmer is just the mouthpiece of Trump in Ghana, the mouthpiece of US government in Ghana. So basically, you know, Virginia Palmer was also singing the tune. So we need to pay up US companies on my project or her into is still pending, there. But moreover, too, I'm sure, say the meeting. One of the things which will come out from the meeting is that we need to start thinking about how we can hash out entirely. You know, this is simple, okay? If US if you are taxing US goods into the country 17%, and US is taxing us 10%, let's call and make a deal. Let's take the 10% off ours, okay, and let's maintain it like 5%, not USD and almost $1. Then that's it. That is what I think Taiwan, is it Taiwan? Taiwan is doing, because yesterday Taiwan's prime minister and Fred Trump, they are working on something. So that's it. That's it. Yeah. All
right. Okay. And to say, as Ghanaians, if we are going to think about our business aspect between ourselves and then US, now are we supposed to be getting worried, or maybe because of
you should be getting worried if you sell products to Ghana, if you sell products or you export products to the US? There are lots of products exporting,
especially in Kutonis black soap near there.
Yeah, true. If you refine it now, package you better charge. But then if it's in this raw form, usually you don't charge, because US we be Africa, US we be they don't tax food. Into the they don't necessarily put taxes on it, okay? Edible products, edible foods. So that itself, or maybe you just pay for importation and some small LVB. But this one has to do with more of finished products. So
like a fine one.
Yes, it's in Kutono or package, okay, and our branding. That's a finished product. That product is not in its raw form. Also, ABR, why you be to say rubber. Things are final products, and certain parts are ABL being here for a company you produce here and you send it there, still aluminum, these kind of things in there, and yet edible, so it will be subject to tariffs, okay? So all bauxite, all these things will be subjected to tariffs. Gold, all these things will be subjected. So it is something which is really, really, really going to hurt us a lot. Yeah.
Okay. And as Ghanaians, you better say probably be free Nazareth about, and to be a man so there. But we won't price a bit to me because Okujeto should be able to do something for us. I don't want them update to be a